So President Trump's America First outlook shaking old friendships and forcing new thinking when it comes to defence in this increasingly uncertain world. Jamie Shea is Senior Fellow at the Friends of Europe think tank and a former NATO Deputy Assistant Secretary General for Emerging Security Challenges. Jamie, good to see you. Welcome back. Let's look at Ukraine. Perhaps Europe then can no longer entirely bank on the support of the United States. So European efforts to bring peace sees this coalition of the willing trying to forge a way ahead. How easy is it going to be?
Well, there's a basic concept, Jamie, and good afternoon to you too, that the Europeans will put some troops on the ground once there is a peace agreement signed and sealed. I'm not sure that it's going to be a particularly large force because so far from the talks in the coalition of the willing, the overwhelming preference is not to have some sort of super-armed big NATO deterrent force on the ground to fight the Russians, but more a training force, probably about 20,000 European soldiers all told, whose job will be to really equip and train the Ukrainian army of about 300,000 up to the level where it would be able by itself to deter and fight back any Russian incursion. Some NATO countries like the UK and France, which are leading the effort, have signalled that they're willing to put troops on the ground. And I think among the coalition members, about 30 of them, there's a hope that now that President Trump has agreed that the US will participate in some shape or form, the air component that your correspondent was describing just a moment ago, this will encourage more European countries to step up and also offer troops. But of course the Europeans will also have to look at ships in the Black Sea to keep the Black Sea open, and alongside the United States they'll have to assume the air defence of Ukraine after a peace agreement.
This strained alliance is decades old, of course. Realistically, how quickly can new security partnerships be effective?
Well, the coalition has been in existence for a long time already, and as your channel has been reporting, have held lots and lots and lots of meetings. 30 countries around the table, so beyond the immediate NATO membership, because you've got Japan, Australia participating in those talks as well, and about 200 planners working on this. So at least as far as this effort is concerned, the planning is well advanced. But of course, it's going to be difficult for some countries who have already made larger commitments to NATO's defence in Eastern Europe to simultaneously now find extra troops to also go to Ukraine. For example, Germany this week has sort of said, well, look, we've recently upgraded our forces in Lithuania to a brigade-size presence with headquarters. That's been a big effort, and that's really exhausted us for the time being, and we probably won't be able to find extra ground troops to Ukraine. So this is, if you like it, Jamie, it's this double pressure. On the one hand, spending more money to reinforce NATO's collective defence posture against Russia, while at the same time making sure that there's something left in the barrel for the long-term sustainment of the Ukrainian army. So how that balance is going to be affected, that's going to be the big question going ahead. If you've got a spare, for example, Patriot air defence system, do you use it for the protection of Romania or the Baltic states or Poland, or do you agree that it's better invested by putting that on the ground in Ukraine?
Jamie, good to see you. Thank you for that. Jamie Shea, Senior Fellow at the Friends of Europe think tank.